All right, what'd you guys think about the draft? I mean, overall thoughts. I
Well,
mean,
neither one
we're.
was watchable. We had Desmond Howard on one and Rich Eisen on the other, and I just
Oh
watched
my
on
Right.
god!
mute.
By the way, Rich Eisen is a. I can't stand that guy anymore. I used to
He might
like
be
that
worse than
guy.
Desmond Howard.
He might. I think he really might be.
Yeah.
It was
And that's
bad.
saying a lot because Desmond Howard sucks.
I want to know if anybody else True. I want to know if anybody else watched the NFL Network one because all I ever saw was people tweeting about the ESPN one, and I was like, I'm watching the NFL Network. I don't like it, but I'm watching it because I just can't stand Desmond.
I started on ESPN the first night. When we were Thursday night when
Yep.
we were doing
When
the
we were doing,
live,
yep.
I was watching. Friday night I switched to the NFL television network, whatever. Hated it, and so I went back to ESPN on Saturday because I was like, I can't put up with Rich Eisen anymore. It was terrible as a Buckeye fan. But so overall, I thought Ohio State had a very interesting draft. Only four guys selected. We still hold our first round draft record, so we're good there. But I mean, 13 from the team up north, right? Texas had 11, I think. Washington had 11. Bama had 10. Georgia only 6. I
I
thought
think that
that was
says a lot
interesting.
about these two teams, though, Eric. I mean, because they had a lot of guys that we thought was going to come back that we thought were going to go that came back.
Well, and that's the thing
Wait
was
till
that
next year and look at the draft numbers and see
I
how much
I
of a
could
flip it is.
I could I could point out 7 juniors who came back who I think would have been drafted. I was counting them up today. I think
Yeah,
there's 7. You add those 7 to the 4 who got picked,
you
and
got
now we're
11.
looking at 11.
And you had at least one of those who, if not a couple, who were first round potential guys. I mean, I think
Such as
Denzel Burke. I think he had first round potential.
his here's what's crazy. I don't think his draft grade was as good as
His draft grade wasn't as high as his draft grade wasn't as high as his potential.
okay. Who's the other one? Sawyer?
Maybe he had a very strong finish to the season.
He's strong,
He
but
finished strong, and I think had he gone to the combine, he would have had good numbers on the measurables, and we know how much that uh, NFL people like to take stock in their precious measurables.
yeah.
So I
D
really feel like he had a chance to sneak in at the end.
D Rock reminds us that Notre Dame's number 1 overall in picks. This is true. So Ohio State owns the first round record. Notre Dame owns the overall record over USC by 1. You know who's third on that list? That's us.
We know, Eric,
Um,
Notre Dame got a lot of them picks when they were still doing a 16 or a 14 round draft, rather.
this is true. This is true. Okay. I think since the year 2000, Ohio State's number 1
Yeah.
comfortably, and Bama's 2. Okay, let's look at where these guys went. Unless JR, you have any overall thoughts?
No, good.
Okay. Marvin Harrison Jr., 4th overall to Arizona. Do you like it? Yes, no, why?
I like this
You,
with Paris again.
Yeah, isn't that good? That's cool.
Yeah. I don't. I think Kyler Murray is kind of like the quarterback that you want, where like he's not good enough to share the ball around, but he is good enough to like throw it up, kind of like a Kyle McCord in my mind. But he also has the feet that Kyle McCord didn't have, so he might trust that a little bit more. We'll see, but I mean, I like that it's a competent enough offense that I think Marvin Harrison Jr. will do well. But might have asked for a better quarterback, but that's what you're gonna get when you go that early in the draft.
yeah, I think Marv's going to do just fine there. I think it's a good location for him. I would have still loved to have seen him gone to the Colts. I mean, just
Yeah,
because.
right.
But you know what? I mean, I think it's okay. Kyler Murray is a very serviceable quarterback. If he's healthy, he can be dynamic at times. Um, it would not surprise me at all to see them. I would say make a move, but I can't say make the playoffs given the division that they're in. That's going to be a tough go of it the first few years for Marv, I think. Just the Cardinals are not a playoff team given the fact that they play out there with the 49ers, the Rams who have gotten better again, and even the Seahawks can push them. So
Next was Michael Hall Jr., round 2 to the Cleveland Browns. Chris,
Woo!
go for it, Chris. Just take it
I,
over.
I love this. I absolutely love this. I love the fact that, yes, he may not have had a stellar college career, but they ran with this guy's potential of what he did when he was in the game. I think this is going to be huge. He doesn't have to come in necessarily and start right away, but I think he'll be a part of the rotation right out of the gate. Um, have a year to learn the NFL game, get up to speed, get physically ready for that next level of play. I'm so excited about this. I think he is going to be a great pickup for the Browns long term.
I love to see Buckeyes go to Ohio State, yeah, go to Ohio teams. So even though I'm not necessarily a Browns fan or a Bengals fan, which I was pretty upset with the Bengals in this draft. We can talk about that later. However, I'm glad to see him go to the Browns, and he's from Cleveland and all that stuff, and so it's just kind of like the perfect pick. And I hope the Browns really do see his potential and play him a lot. Man, that's gonna be a really good pass rush up in Cleveland. That's gonna be scary with
That
him and Miles
defensive
Yeah.
Garrett and some of the other
line
guys they
is
got.
unbelievable.
Yeah,
From the mean streets of Streetsboro, Ohio to Cleveland. There you go. Um, my Cincinnati Bungles bungled this thing up so bad in the fourth
Bad.
round,
mm-hmm.
taking Eric All at tight end
Idiots.
over Cade Stover
Yeah.
shows you how incompetent they are. There's no way Eric All is. By the way, did you see the Scum fans celebrating that? Like Eric All was theirs? Like, come on, guys, he left you.
They were
He's
literally 2 years ago upset about how much he was trashing them when he was leaving. These people have no memory.
No memory, no class, and even fewer brain cells.
Yeah, Dylan, I'm with you because Dylan lives down in Dayton. He's a Bungles fan with me too. I was livid, dude. When they picked him, I literally started throwing things. I
Me
was
too.
like,
That's when I had him going, I believe, if I
yeah,
remember right.
yeah. Well, I did too. I thought for
Yeah.
sure the Bengals were going to get him. Nope. So Stover goes to Houston though, and for him, this is great because now he's reunited with
With
CJ
CJ.
Stroud and it feels so good. It feels right. He's going to have a very good career in Houston. I would be shocked if he's out of the league in 3 to 4 years. Like I think he could be like an 8, 9 year pro and him and CJ go on an epic playoff run every year, those two, as long as they can stay
Yeah.
healthy. JR?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you guys saw, but what the Texans were saying, their front office was saying about him after they drafted him in the press conference and stuff like that. I mean, they were just talking about, they used that word that the Michigan fans don't like. They called him tough, said he's one of the toughest guys in college football, talked about how he was injured, but he was playing through it, and it wasn't like he was playing through it and he was bad and he was a detriment to the team. He was still really good and just incredibly tough. I mean, Stover is one of those tight ends. We talked about the tight end list earlier. Stover is one of those tight ends that, I think at the end of his career, NFL and everything, he's going to be one of the most popular tight ends out there for Ohio State because the guy's just magnetic. The farmer thing, everything that he does with that. I mean, I couldn't. If it wasn't the Bengals, I would have loved to see him go to the Bengals. But if it wasn't the Bengals, I was glad that he went to the Texans because I do think him and C.J. Stroud are going to do some amazing things together.
Yeah. I love this for him. I love it for CJ. CJ's got some good receivers down there. Now he's got that security blanket over the middle. A guy who can help in the run game, help in the pass game. I think that look out for the Texans because this offense is going to be for real.
Yeah, this is a great situation for him. And I wouldn't be shocked if that guy doesn't own a ginormous steer ranch in Texas in a few years. Like Stover Farms in Texas is going to be the real thing. By the way, I know where your allegiance lie, Jr.
I thought I've made it pretty clear on
Isn't
Twitter,
it?
so I
Aren't
think
you a
most
Colts
people would know
fan?
it. I am. Yeah.
That's okay. I thought
That was the
so.
dream that the Colts would trade
Get
away their
Marvin.
entire future to get Marvin, which I'd have been fine with. I would have been fine with a draft day scenario to get Marvin. It's okay. Who
I
cares about the
I
future?
understand I understand the joke, Sean. I get it. They actually call themselves the state of Cincinnati down there. They don't claim anything. It's really weird. By the way, I'm going to be on their podcast tomorrow. They've invited me on the Cincinnati podcast has invited me tomorrow night to be on their podcast. So I'll be dropping a link for all of you guys in our social when that gets dropped. It's a recording, so they want to talk college huddle and talk to a Buckeye. So it's gonna be interesting. Let's see. Tommy Eichenberg to the Raiders. I don't get it. He I know he's like super tough and quiet. Like I don't. He's too quiet to be a Raider. That's the
Yeah,
thing. Like I just don't see this. I think this is a bad mix. I really do.
I feel like I think he's a Steeler. He was a Steeler. He was a maybe a Lion, maybe a Brown. But yeah, I think you're right. He's not that outspoken, boisterous, obnoxious personality that you get out of Raiders linebackers.
Yeah.
He's not a Bill Romanowski type guy. He's not. He's not
No.
even a Howie Long type guy. I know Howie Long's a defensive lineman, but
He's a
they're
lunch. He's a
players.
bring your lunch pail, keep your mouth shut, do your job. That's who.
That that to me describes like I say, a Cleveland, a Detroit,
A
a
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh, and in fact, I think I had him going to Pittsburgh if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken. Yeah, so
Not a Raider. Mm-mm.
no,
JR.
The Raiders. The Raiders. No, he's not a Raider. That didn't fit. I wish he was a Steeler. I know not everybody likes the Steelers, and that's fine. I don't really care for the Steelers. I don't have good or bad feelings about them. It is what it is. But yeah, he definitely fit the Steelers better, and I think he would have been a good piece of their defense there.
Given the fact that Jim Harbaugh is now the coach for the Chargers, though, and they're in the same division, and he's going to want to run the football down everybody's throats, I do understand the draft pick there.
it does make sense.
Yeah.
He is a
So,
tackling machine.
okay. We had after that, we all had 5 other guys that we looked at as potentially maybe getting drafted. By the way, Mayan Williams still has not been picked up by anybody.
Yeah,
That was a
Probably
bad decision.
UFL
That
Canadian
was a bad
football guy.
decision, brother. He could have came back and been depth piece on this team. He had
yeah,
another year of eligibility if he wanted it because
He
of
could have
COVID.
been the third string guy.
yeah.
Yeah,
Or he could have, he could have improved his draft stock by taking a year and going to Cincinnati, going by someplace else like that. Get yourself a year in another
yeah,
program if you are not
yeah,
happy in Ohio, in Columbus.
yeah. You could have been a grad transfer and shoot, could have went to Notre Dame. I mean, we just had a player get drafted from Notre Dame who left us here, right? And Javante Jean Baptiste, he
Yeah.
got drafted. Um, and they might need another running back. They just lost Estime into the draft as well, and he's kind of an Estime type of back.
Mm-hmm.
Um, beside him, we did have 4 other guys get picked up um, as undrafted free agents, and I'm trying to remember all of them here. We had Matthew Jones go to the Dolphins, I believe it was.
Yeah.
We had
Proctor went
Proctor go
to Jacksonville
to the Jaguars. Thank
because
you.
I'm thinking Tim Walton probably made a phone call there.
Ooh, I didn't
Maybe
think
he's still
about
got some
that.
friends in the front office.
Hmm. My favorite, Xavier Johnson went to the Bills, and he will make the team.
Yes.
Yes,
Like he will make
and
that team as a
I
special
think
teams.
Mark my words, Josh Allen will complete a pass to Xavier Johnson next year.
yes.
It's gonna happen.
I was gonna say I would not be surprised to see him maybe end up a third option in the receiving crew or core.
And the one that I'm hearing a lot of buzz about that they love this is Steel Chambers went to Detroit, and apparently
Mm-hmm.
they loved it. The Lions were hoping he wouldn't get drafted so that they could get him. They really wanted him. I also heard they were considering using a pick on him. And they didn't end up doing that, but then they got him as an undrafted free agent. And, Chris Spielman's there. Chris Spielman probably loves him some Steel Chambers and Tommy Eichenberg. So I think he's got a really good shot of making it there too because he can play special teams as well. So I think those two will probably make teams. We'll see about Proctor. I don't think Matthew Jones is probably going to make it, but we'll see. And of course, Mayan Williams didn't go anywhere, and probably going to play in the UFL next year. You're right, Chris. So your thoughts, Jr. on those 5 guys?
Yeah, no, I like Proctor to Miami. I think that Proctor has a good chance to possibly make the team, be a special teams guy. You saw how much he would grind at Ohio State to stay in the mix, and I think that he's going to bring that grind to Miami as well. So I think Xavier Johnson is going to have the longest career out of all of these guys, even possibly the guys who were drafted, other than Marvin Harrison Jr. I think that he is just going to stick with a team and probably be a special teams guy or just a locker room guy, maybe with the Bills most of his career, and then hop around other places and do that kind of stuff. But yeah, I like the Bills area. I like the Bills team for Xavier Johnson a lot, and I think that he could find himself as an actual receiving option, maybe the fourth or fifth string there.
Chris?
Yeah, I think that JR is onto something there. I think the Xavier Johnson definitely was a great fit for Buffalo. Um, I think that I'm excited for Steele in Detroit. Um, outside of that, Proctor, I again, I'm with JR. Proctor's got the drive. He's got the go. I just don't know if he lasts down in Jacksonville. It's I mean, now the one thing he's got going for him is Jacksonville is well, I mean, they're not a bad team, but they play in a very bad division.
They play in a
So,
very up and coming division, though.
well, 3 years from now, maybe.
Try this upcoming year.